this is why you need someone like RFK to make America healthy again, right? Like, I mean, somebody's got to take these entrenched special interests that have compromised these Democrat senators and, frankly, even maybe some Republicans.
RFK Jr. is going through the Senate today to be confirmed. Do you think that he will get that confirmation vote?
I don't see why he shouldn't, right? Like, so there's no legitimate reason why senators from both parties should not vote for him. He should, in a just world, get a unanimous vote. But what we've seen over the course of the hearing today is that the Senate Finance Committee Democrats are just total hypocrites. Wyden attacking him, and he's taking all sorts of monies from all the healthcare industry, right? Like, so the fact is that you have a compromised political class here in the imperial capital in Washington D.C. And this is why you need someone like RFK to make America healthy again, right? Like, I mean, somebody's got to take these entrenched special interests that have compromised these Democrat senators and, frankly, even maybe some Republicans, right? Like, head on, and I think RFK is in a great position to do that. There's a reason why he brought great momentum and energy to President Trump's campaign when he endorsed President Trump. That big rally out I think it was in Arizona with the Turning Point crowd and everything, right? Like, I mean, he electrified the movement. Endorsements usually don't matter, but in this case it did, because what happened is you had the merger between the Make America Great Again and the Make America Healthy Again movements. And, they have so much in common in that they're taking on, again, these entrenched, financial, political, globalist elite interests that have really destroyed Western civilization in the United States in particular. We got to get past these places and beat them. And RFK getting confirmed is a huge step in that direction, so I hope he gets there. I expected nothing less than the fireworks we've seen during the hearing today, but I think that he's handling himself very strongly, very well prepared, and there's literally no legitimate reason to vote against him, no matter what party you're from, especially the Republicans.
The Democrats say that he's a conspiracy theorist, and they talk about his views on vaccines. And they're also very keen to talk about his views on abortion and medical aid for abortion. That's how they frame it, with mifepristone, this drug. Do you think that some Republicans might be concerned about RFK's pro-choice views?
Yeah, well, you've seen some Republicans voice those concerns, but you also have in President Trump the most pro-life president in American history. There's never been anybody more pro-life than President Trump. So believe me, RFK knows who the boss is here. It's Donald Trump, and he's the guy who appointed the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe versus Wade in his first term. All right, like, so the fact is that we live in a post-Roe versus Wade society at this moment after 50 years of a flawed Supreme Court decision protecting abortion and bestowing a constitutional right that frankly never should have existed out there for it. Because of Donald Trump. So I don't think anybody that's pro-life has anything to worry about with RFK getting confirmed because the boss is the boss at the end of the day, and that's Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, the president and vice president in the White House. And again, the most pro-life president and most pro-life vice president. I mean, you heard J.D. Vance's speech at the March for Life. It was absolutely amazing, right? Like, so people, I think these concerns are misplaced, and it's Democrats just trying to drive a wedge. As for the vaccine stuff, I mean, again, who are you going to believe? The Democrats are your lying eyes here, right? Like, I mean, the fact is that RFK addressed this in his opening statement this morning before the Senate committee, and he literally said, I'm not anti-vax. All my children are vaccinated, right? Like, and again, those same people that we're talking about, the people that stand to gain gain significantly from this are the people that are lining the pockets of people like Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is the most compromised senator in the United States Senate. I hope people understand that, right? It's my home state of Massachusetts. I grew up there. I'm ashamed that she is a senator. First off, she lied about her supposed Native American heritage, and now she is in the pockets firmly of special interests in Washington, D.C. She's somebody who claimed to be this crusader against financial corruption when she was winning her elections, right? Like, and that, you know, she was championing the beginning of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Elizabeth Warren is compromised now. She is in the pockets of these people, right? Like, they own her. They own her vote. Industry owns her vote, right? Like, and I hope people get that, right? Like, and so when she votes no, and she will, people should know that she did it at the behest of the people that are putting money in her campaign coffers. That's the only reason why. She does not believe in anything she says.
When it comes to his campaign to make America healthy again, what are you most looking forward to or curious about or interested in? I know that he talks about obesity rates and autism and child chronic illnesses. Where do you think he could transform his department?
I think there's a lot of places, and you hear people talk about this a lot with regard to the chemicals that are in processed foods, right? Like, and so there are other countries in the Western world that don't allow things that we allow in our foods, right? Like that, it wouldn't change the product that much, right? Like it might be a little bit more expensive for the company to manufacture it, but it's really not the cost is not going to go up to the consumer. And I think that if we had some controls on what chemicals go into certain things, and again, I'm not going to get into this specific food or that specific food or whatever, but you know, because again, each thing is a little more complicated than the next. But I do think that that's a place where you could really see some vast improvement very quickly with regard to some things that the HHS could do on that front. And I think that you know, that's a place where RFK is going to work together with, I think, the USDA Secretary incoming as well, Brooke Rollins, in that regard. And I think both of them have a lot of interesting things to bring to the table on this. And I think that that's a place where you could really see, and you heard RFK talking about it today in his opening statement and some of the questioning, right, like about the need to work with farmers and the need to work with food producers and how important they are for our national security. And I think that there's some things that we can look at in that regard. And there might be some real interesting changes that happen fairly quickly on that front too.
And what about Trump's relationship with RFK Jr.? I know that RFK in the hearings was talking a bit about Trump's very poor diet. I'm sure that was in a jokey sense. But also, you know, Trump I remember seeing a clip of Trump signing one of the executive orders saying to release all the files about the assassination of his father and to give RFK the pen. I thought that was quite a nice moment. So what about the relationship between these two men? How's that working out?
I think that there's a very strong relationship between them because the fact that they both represent, like I was talking about there before, about the merger between MAGA and Maha, you saw during the campaign. You saw it play out in real time where RFK and Trump came out on stage together there at the Turning Point event. I think it was in Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona. And it was so powerful, right? Like the energy is strong, and they represent very similar things, right? Like what are they fighting for? They're fighting against these entrenched globalist political class establishment interests. They're fighting for common sense, right? Like in many respects, right? Like, I mean, and that's a big reason why I think Donald Trump's back in the White House is that the Democrat Party and frankly the establishment Republicans too went so far off the rails into psychopathy, right? Like, I mean, they turned into psychopaths, right? Like, and they still are. They haven't figured out the way out of this yet, right? Like, now, remember, RFK, I mean, he's a scion of one of the greatest Democrat families of the 20th century in the United States, right? His uncle, JFK, RFK was the president of the United States. His father was the attorney general, a senator, and the leading candidate for the United States, for the president as well, before he was assassinated. They were Democrats, right? Like, I mean, RFK was a Democrat most of his life, and now he left the Democrat Party, ran as an independent, and then now he's joined the Republican Party here to join the Trump administration. I think that this, and frankly, this is why I think that his confirmation and Tulsi Gabbard's, where we're going to see her hearing tomorrow, are so important. These are two former Democrats that really brought a lot to Trump's movement, and I think represent this coalition level shift that we've seen away from the Democrats towards the Republicans in the era of Trump and MAGA. The question is, can the America First movement continue this in future elections? Obviously, the big gains that we saw in the November 2024 election were a big part. The reason why that was a big part that happened was because Trump obviously himself was on the ticket, right? Like, we're not going to have Trump on the ticket again in a future election, right? And barring some weird scenario where they allow, another term for a president, but I just don't see them amending the Constitution in the next 4 years. It's not going to happen, right? Like, so the fact is that we're not going to have Trump on the ticket again. So now, where does this America First movement go? That'll be really fascinating to watch. As for their personal relationship, I mean, they're very good friends, right? Like, they clearly are very good friends. You've seen them travel together. The pictures of them out there on the campaign trail, RFK and Trump doing events together. I've met RFK a couple times around Washington, D.C. in the last few weeks. I think he's a really sharp guy, and he knows what he's talking about on this stuff. And I will say that regarding Trump's personal diet, it's no surprise Donald Trump likes his Mickey D's, right? Like, he likes his McDonald's. I've been with Trump when he's ordered McDonald's. I remember back in the 2016 campaign, I went with him on a trip, and they had McDonald's on the plane when we were coming back. No surprise there. And RFK has addressed that. He's like, look, you can eat your McDonald's, right? That's okay, but you just need to know what's in this stuff, right? Like, and I think that's a very common sense position to take. And so, and look, hey, Donald Trump has one heck of an energy level, right? Like, who's anyone to question what he is eating and doing health-wise, right? Like, look at him at 78 years old, right? He is still on top of the world. So I don't know. Maybe he's doing something right and other people aren't. I don't know. So who knows? But the point is that I don't think anybody's going to be changing anybody's McDonald's and Diet Cokes anytime soon.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the GBN America YouTube channel.